Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I am Brad, along here with Doug.
Hi.
So we recorded our Doug Tries Out Virtual Reality episode prematurely.
Yeah,
Doug
a little bit.
I feel like you were so enamored with VR that you went, screw it, now I need to go find somewhere to try Vive.
Well, I didn't even know Vive was showing. That's what it was. Is like I just happened to stumble upon like people are giving impressions of like in-store impressions of Vive. I was like, I wonder if there's a Vive place around here, and there was, in a very very ritzy, very expensive mall. This was not a GameStop.
That you probably looked out of place in your Katamari t-shirt.
Oh yeah, I don't wear that thing out anymore. No, it was actually the mall was like had like Gucci stores and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, it was actually a super super nice mall.
moving on up.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
As we mentioned before in our past episode, I have not tried any of these things yet. So, how does this compare? Last episode, we did a little bit of talking about PSVR versus
Yeah.
Oculus. So, how does this stack against those two?
I feel like in the last episode, like while I was very excited about it, there was always like there's these like little issues that I'm like, oh well, if you ignore these issues, it's a really good thing. One of the big things I thought was like, well, Oculus set wasn't very comfortable.
Yep.
The PSVR set was kind of low resolution, and like having thought about it, like the view doesn't completely wrap around your eyes. So like both of these things have like these kind of issues. They're kind of like, all right, I kind of get it. HTC Vive doesn't have any of those issues like at all. It's not even. Oh my god, like this thing is like on another planet. It's so far ahead of PSVR and Oculus. It is so far ahead of them. I can't even describe like so like when I first started it, one of the big problems had both with the Oculus and PSVR was that it took me a while to adjust the goggles.
Yeah.
Either because my glasses on the Oculus, or because the VR just needed like help focusing it. But the HTC Vive, like I just popped on and it was like perfect, like immediately.
Huh.
Maybe they had it set up easier. I don't know.
Or maybe the last guy just had your exact same head size and vision.
No, I mean like definitely not head size. Definitely not head size. I had to fix the straps quite a bit because I have a gigantic head. Um, it was funny. He like gave me the thing. I was like, "You're gonna need to open those straps like another like 3 or 4 inches." um, yeah. So the experience with HTC Vive is just very different overall than like Oculus and PSVR. PSVR is very much a maybe just because the demo I played, but like from articles I've been reading, is that PSVR is very much a sit down experience.
Yep.
And the one I played of Oculus Rift was kind of like a stand around sort of thing. It wasn't you weren't moving around too much. While HTC Vive is like you have I'm gonna get this wrong, but let's just say a 6 foot by 6 foot area that you can completely walk around in.
Yeah, because it like maps your room, right? And then like it gives you when you're using the goggles, it gives you like the physical edges of your boundary or something like that, right?
Yeah. It doesn't exactly map the room. It's basically just have like four like posts you set up in your room,
Okay.
and those are like the boundaries. So it's your job to clean up your room. Like it's not gonna
Damn
tell you if
it.
there's a yeah. Um, the thing is like when you first put it on, it's like immediately clear. It's like it's perfectly clear. PSVR, I think like the thing was like, oh, this initial like disappointment putting the PSVR, like there's none of that. Like it's just you put it on, it works. It's like, oh, okay, now I'm in the virtual world. There's no apologies, no nothing. Like you're there.
Okay.
And the thing that is really really crazy, I'd heard about this, and like when you experience it, it's really weird. So I have the goggles on, and the guy who's giving the demo, he actually talks in your ear the whole time if you have questions. He just handed me the controllers, and I just reached out and grabbed them
With the headset on.
with the headset on. Like, just think about that for a second. Like, that's how good the tracking is on those controllers. Like, you put the headset on, you're completely blind. Like, you're blind, but they're sitting there floating in space at exactly the right distance for you to reach out and grab them.
That's too cool.
It's really weird because it sounds like really minute, but it is actually super super cool. One of the things that was really cool is the presentation. I think was actually much better than either the PSVR or the Oculus one. The PSVR presentation, which I kind of talked about before, the guy was like, once you put on the headset and you got it all ready, you just kind of played the game and like that was it. What this one was though, because it wasn't actually a game and it wasn't a totally passive experiences, the guy like would talk in your ear and you played basically three separate demos with three separate control schemes. And control schemes isn't the right way to say it; it's more like toolboxes. So he basically explained what the toolbox was for each. The first demo I tried was this undersea. Was actually no, it was just the main menu. In the main menu, you squeeze the controller and you could make balloons. Um, like it was really weird because like the controller has like a 3D presence like there, like you
Yeah.
can see the controller in your hand. It's like you squeeze it, and it goes psst, and it makes like a balloon, and you can like bop the balloon with your. And you can make different colored balloons and stuff. which sounds really silly, but again, it's like if you try VR,
It's I'm
really
sure it's
cool.
one of those things where having it in your hands and actually doing it and seeing that happen has
Mhm.
got to be crazy. But just it's one of those things where it's like, so you put on these fancy goggles and you get to pop a balloon and it's life changing.
Yeah, no, it's really weird. Like it definitely gives you that meat. Like, oh, okay, I get how this. It's like it's so second nature though. Like immediately, like there's no sort of like learning curve. It's just like, okay, I squeeze the trigger to make a balloon. It was kind of cool because the demos like they gradually increased in complexity with the controls as you went
Oh, that's
along. So
cool.
the first one's yeah, so the first one's just like you try a balloon, and then the next demo I tried was where you're in an undersea environment where you're just like you're on a sunken pirate ship. You can just walk around you can walk around the edges. They basically encourage you to like walk to like the very edge of your,
Yeah.
you know, and like look over and like a whale swims by and it's really really neat. And there's like fish that swim by and you can kind of bat them away. It's a very cool like presence one. You feel like you feel like you're in a sunken ship and there you feel like there's a giant whale there. It's just like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. Again, they're really hard to describe. Like just the presence is like the big part of it. The next one I tried was was one I had seen before, and I was like, okay, that's kind of neat. It was like a 3D paint program called Tilt Brush,
Yeah.
and basically what it is, it's just paint in 3D space. So you can draw like when you swipe your arm, like if you swipe your arm, you'd make an arc.
Mhm.
Okay, so like what I did is like I was like sitting there drawing a smiley face. I was like kind of doing it. I was just just drawing a smiley face, and I was drawing a circle, and I was like, wait, I can make a sphere if I sort of like move to the left or move to the right. So like I drew a circle in like X Y, and then like I kind of turned my plane, and I drew another circle in Z, and like you could sort of make like a beach volleyball sort of thing because with like the different
Yeah.
lines.
Yep.
And then and one of the cool things is because you're not really drawing with real paint or anything. Like they have like a paint texture, but they also have a light texture. So you're sitting there painting with like neon lights, or you're
That's kind
painting
of
with fire, or you're painting with and it's really really intuitive. Like the guy just literally he explains like how to use the buttons. He's like, okay, in your left hand is your toolbox. So like you sit there and you flick a dial, and like you see kind of like if you're able to use Photoshop or something, they have all your different
yeah.
paintbrushes, and you see other controller like to like stick your hand into the menu and choose which one you want.
That's
Um,
really cool.
yeah, so you could draw like it's like drawing stick figures in 3D, but like they're life size. It's like almost like sculpting. It's really weird. It's like sculpting with an infant sized room. Like if you just kind of walked your room and started throwing paint, but it just stayed in a 3D space, which is really cool. And I was kind of surprised how like powerful a tool was. Like I could see myself like really messing around with it for a long time. Like that one, like it was kind of cool because I could hear people. I had headphones on, but I could hear people talking. They're like, "Oh wow, that's neat. Is he drawing he's drawing like a person sort of thing." And it was really cool because I could hear people in the background talking about it. And like the guy in like the microphone, he's like, "You got an audience." It's like, "Okay, cool." Like,
That's his
um,
don't draw a dick.
yeah.
That's what that was.
That actually probably is the truth. I can see some people drawing some funny stuff. Um, yeah, and that was really cool. I kind of like that one the most, which is a weird thing to say. And then the last and that one like in each demo like they give you enough time like basically they give you like 2 minutes to explain how the tools work and they give you like 5 minutes to play around in it.
So that's
Um,
a long demo then. If you did three of those, so you did
yeah, it was a bit.
like a 20-minute demo essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn.
You had to sign up beforehand. I was just lucky that nobody was in the store, so I didn't like. Dude's like, yeah, sure, I guess you can try it. Nobody, like my next, you had like you had to sign a waiver and everything too,
Huh.
and like his next client hadn't come in yet, so he's like, yeah, sure, you can try it. And it's a hard thing to describe though because it feels so far ahead of both PSVR and Oculus. First of all, I don't know why anybody would choose an Oculus. Like right now, if I had a gaming PC, there's no way in hell I'd get an Oculus.
Well, when you
Um,
look at price points, that thing's expensive as hell, isn't it? The Vive.
it's yeah, maybe it's like $200 or $300 more expensive, but like
Well,
it's just like magnitudes better though.
but you also have to think like that requires essentially like 36 square feet or
That is
however
the
many
only thing.
however many
Yeah.
square feet. And if you think
Mhm.
like I'm thinking back to like my last couple apartments before I bought my house, there's no way in
Mhm.
hell I have anywhere to put that thing.
That is it. Well, you can also use this system as like just like a journal headset. I could see that maybe if like you didn't have the space for it, but just like tech wise, and if you have a computer, like if you're willing to spend the amount of money to get VR working, like I don't see why you get an Oculus. You just should get a Vive. It is just a weird experience. I kind of do wish like I would like to try like a sitting experience with it. Like I'd like to try the Battlezone demo or the Eve Valkyrie one with those ones.
Just to see how
Because
the more traditional VR works.
yeah, because the system actually it wraps around farther in your field of view.
Hmm.
So it definitely has more of that presence. Like it definitely feels like you're in that world. And it's a much stronger one than the PSVR, which I liked, but it's just so much better, especially with the super high resolution screen. The last demo I tried was it was just kind of like a shooting gallery one. You know, like you kind of like
Yeah.
shoot these like little balls or robot things. But it was really cool because like they're two. You're basically holding like two triggers in your hand. So you're like you shoot them right. You shoot them like you would a regular gun. Um, but what you could do is you could change your ammo type with like a little scroll wheel. And like what I did is like I held the gun up to my face and like then I changed my ammo type and you could see like the gun barrel like flick and morph into like the appropriate ammo you had
Yeah.
chosen. And it's kind of like you see that in games, but it's like really weird like seeing it in front of you. like
Oh
like
yeah.
you're sitting there like seeing like your single barrel change to a triple barrel or change to a laser or something like that. And the guy was telling me, he's like, oh, okay. So he's like, you have two guns. So like, I'm saying they're like, shooting off like machine guns or lasers or whichever ones I had. He's like, okay, now if you take your one hand and you stick it behind your like head, I was like, okay, like I thought I was reloading, so like I put it like way be my hand way behind my head and I pull it back and I have like this like energy shield thing. So what you could do is like as they're shooting lasers at you, you could block with the shield and then like kind of like pull your other hand like around the shield to shoot forward.
Jeez.
Yeah, and they did this really cool thing. So they kind of give you a warning if one of the robots is about to shoot at you. And if it shot at you, like once it got into your like your little square, it do the if you're looking at the lasers, it do it slow mo, and it go like everything would kind of like slow. You could move like your normal speed, but it goes wow. And then like I was literally doing like a Matrix dodge thing. Like I leaned left and like I watched the laser like go by my eyes. You could hear like the crackling of the laser like just zips by your head. Man, it's and like that's just like one of those traditional games that would just suck as a normal game though.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
Like
I
it
think
would just
that's gonna be
yeah.
like the crux of VR is when
Mhm.
this becomes older tech. Do these things live up to being actual games?
Yeah, and I don't know because essentially it was just Duck Hunt. That's like what it was. But it's like Duck Hunt 2016 edition, and you're in Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
I mean I had some. Oh, sorry. Yep.
so is what sets this apart? Is it the room tracking that's setting this apart, or is it the actual headset itself? Is it like what is setting this so far above and beyond it? Is it the ability to have that physical space to maneuver in?
I think it's everything really. It's I think first of all the headset like when I first put it on, it kind of it like there was no sort of caveats I would have to tell with anybody. Like with PSVR, it's like you got to give it a sec for you to feel the presence, sort of thing. Like you
Mm-hmm.
really do got to give it. It has none of that. It's just like so immediately the headset's just better. It felt really comfortable too. So I had like the same company as the PSVR, but like the high resolution screen of Oculus. But like when I was like handed the controllers, like there is something. It adds to that immersion
Oh,
of
okay.
because like in Battlezone, like I'm sitting in a tank, but like really I could feel the controller in my hands. But this one, it's like my arms and my fingers and like all it's like my arms now and like the rest of my body like the fact that I could walk around adds to that presence.
So that physical tracking piece.
Yeah. That's a huge part of it. I know Oculus has some of that, but I didn't try that. So like this is only my impressions like of the demo I was given.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is that tracking. It's kind of weird because when I was playing the Vive, it didn't really feel like when I was playing as like I would like to play this for video games. While PSVR was like, oh, this would be a great game thing to play. Like the Vive was like, this seems like something you'd use for work. Like just the way the controllers are set up with like scroll wheels and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So like I could see like a lot of design work being done with these things. It was actually more exciting. It was kind of like instead of like the paint when I was playing, it didn't feel like I was playing like a I don't know. Is there like any casual paint games, like fun paint games? I don't know.
Mario Paint.
Yeah, like Mario. Okay, Mario. That's okay. That's the only example, I guess. Um, well, it felt like it's like okay, this is like a casual paint game, but like you could see like Adobe Photoshop, whatever version being like being that. Like this is like the prototype of that. So it wasn't like I was just playing games. I was playing future applications of it.
Yeah.
So it felt more like when I was playing, besides like the presence and stuff like that, I was like, I feel currently if this is what games were like, this is a wasted on games. This tech is too interesting and too monumental to be just used for games.
Yeah, and there should be some other push to it. Well, that's what I read some article where they compared it to saying that this is essentially like the closest we will get at this point to the holodeck in Star Trek.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like it's there. Like it's not even. Yeah, it's not even a question in my mind. It's like, yeah, of course it is. Unless like one day they somehow like you don't have to use the headset, like that would be the total thing. But
Well,
like
yeah,
to me it doesn't matter. It's like this right now, like it doesn't. I think PSVR felt like the start of something big, and then the
yep.
Vive is that something big.
Like what we're gonna have 10 years down the road is gonna be commonplace.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like the not the Oculus, the Vive felt like it felt like the accumulation of like 10 years of something. Like it didn't feel like
Hmm.
the iPhone one. It
Yeah,
felt like the iPhone 5 because I played the iPhone. I played the equivalent of the iPhone one, which is PSVR, and I feel bad for Oculus. Like I don't know if you're investing. I don't invest, but like I wouldn't do it in Oculus. The Vive is too interesting. I would like to. I would like. There's some like. I wish there was more gamey things. Like the shooting gallery one was kind of fun. Is in that sort of like carnival
yeah,
kind of aspect, but it wasn't really. It didn't feel like a full game. Like Battlezone felt like I was playing a full game. Like I could see that like a
yeah.
demo for a game, while that shooting gallery felt kind of like a mini game. And that's from what I've seen of Vive. I could be completely wrong on this, so in the comments, tell me I'm an idiot. Um,
You're an idiot. Oh,
or you can
comments.
tell me
Sorry.
now.
Yeah, my bad. I get confused sometimes.
um, it felt like they weren't. I felt like I didn't actually play games with the HTC Vive. I felt like I played like not even tech demos, but like I was saying, like applications.
like
Like this is
like you
the
would see that this would be at CES instead of E3.
yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Or this would be something like you'd get in like your Windows, like your Windows applications, like you get those
Hmm.
standard ones. Like that's what these were. Like the shooting gallery is like the equivalent one to like Minesweeper.
Yep.
It's just like that's gonna be like in every HTC Vive system. So I'm really curious like what a full game would be like. So I don't know if PSVR is gonna be the place for that stuff, and HTC Vive is gonna be more for like the application-y aspects of it. But PSVR made me want to pre-order a PSVR for I don't know $400 or whatever. HTC Vive made me want to drop $2,000. Like
For your
then
gaming PC and everything.
for a
Yeah.
gaming PC and everything. And like to me it's like playing it. I was like, oh, this is worth $2,000. This is new. This is revolutionary. Um, while the PSVR feels like it's neat. It's cool. It was awesome. Like I did like it. Like I'm still debating in my head. Like, is it really worth the $2,000 for me to get to the HTC Vive? Like I've kind of I've always like kind of danced around the idea of getting into game development. It's like, okay, maybe I can justify getting a new PC if I want to start doing that stuff and get the Vive. But yeah,
It's
yeah,
expensive.
it's expensive. It's expensive, but like if you're a developer or there's so many different applications for it, I could see that was almost more exciting than the PSVR stuff. But if
Yeah.
I want to play, if I want to be Batman, like maybe
Gotta get
maybe
the
the Vive
PSVR.
isn't. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for Workforce Gaming here.
Hmm.
You can follow us on Twitter at Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to us on YouTube or iTunes or Google Play or wherever else you're listening to us at. We will see you later.
Bye, and hopefully Brad will actually play VR so we can have another discussion where Brad actually plays on these
All
things.
VR all the time.
Maybe next weekend. All right, bye.